Nick, do you think Alabama's pass rush will be better in 2025?
I think it'll be better. And here's a name to watch that you didn't mention.
Welcome to Beat Everyone, AL.com's Alabama football podcast. I'm Ben Flanagan. We are in the thick of fall camp, and we've got one scrimmage down in the 2025 version of Alabama football, and version 2.0 of the Kalen DeBoer era is finally forming. And the first scrimmage is in the books, like I said, so we're looking at sort of stock up and stock down so far. Obviously focusing on the up for you fans out there. Our good pal and AL.com Alabama beat reporter Nick Kelly just published a piece on the AL.com website. 5 Alabama football players trending up after the first scrimmage. Intriguing reading required on your part, so go check it out. But Nick is with us now. Nick, welcome back. You wrote that each scrimmage is a benchmark moment for Alabama football players. Before we get to naming names here, and that's what we're here to do, it seems like this year's first scrimmage told us a lot about this team, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no doubt. I think, especially when you look at sides of the ball, too, offense is in a good spot, maybe ahead of schedule, which, if you're Alabama, that's a great sign this time of year, considering the defense is usually in probably the better spot early in fall camp. And then as it progresses, the offense improves. But I think the offense is doing quite well so far. So I think that was an encouraging sign coming out of the first scrimmage.
Yeah, so Nick, let's look at the 5 guys that you picked as names that are trending in the right direction. And this is based on intel that you got from people who watched the scrimmage because you and the media weren't able to attend in person, but also based on what Kalen DeBoer actually said himself. And, the first pick here might seem a little obvious, Nick, but is something that Alabama fans are going to love hearing just a few weeks away from kickoff.
Yeah, Ty Simpson was that first pick, and a guy who I heard a lot of good things about. Everyone who watched the scrimmage praised what they saw from Ty. People have noticed improvement. They see a guy who's in command, poised, looks the part. I mean, he really seems like he's stepped into a leadership role. And I think that he's making the throws that he needs to make, not necessarily just the spectacular, impressive throws that maybe garner oohs and ahs, but also just the underneath plays and the smart throws, really. But he did also, Ben, have a play where he evaded several defenders to make the smart move and smart throw, really. And that, to me, is a great sign. Ty's a guy who can be a little slippery. I think that because we've talked so much about Jalen Milroe's athleticism and speed, you kind of forget about what Ty can do. But if you remember, I mean, Ty had that long run, but I think it was 2 seasons ago, that where he dropped the ball right before he got in the end zone. But he did have a long run. But I think more than just his ability in the open field, I think he's going to be a little slippery in the pocket and moving around the pocket. So a lot to like. No indication that he's lost his spot in that pole position coming into camp that he had. And I think he continues to improve, and things are really trending upward for him heading into Florida State.
Yeah. So, of all the guys in positions to be trending up after the first scrimmage, like this is number 1 seed for Alabama fans. They need to hear that Ty Simpson is improving and looking like the guy. But Nick, you also wrote about Greg McElroy's take on the scrimmage and specifically the quarterbacks, right? And he said that Simpson looks decisive, comfortable, in control, just to use some of the words that Greg used. What did you think of McElroy's take there? Like whether it was about Ty or the rest of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, it matched up with what I had heard, but Greg had better perspective because he was in the stadium watching it, and obviously he knows a thing or two about playing quarterback. So he seemed really impressed, and rightfully so. I mean, that's the thing. It's not a case of Ty was the only guy who played well. I think all 3 quarterbacks are having good camps, and that's a great sign because I remember 2 years ago, Ben, where they had that competition between Milroe and Simpson, and then you also had Buckner in the mix, and it was kind of a matter of, well, no one's really won it. It's just Jalen's still kind of at the front of the line still. But this year it seems like Ty is really winning it, and he is staying ahead of a pack that is having a good camp overall. I mean, Austin Mack has sounded to have made improvements. Keelan Russell, although he's still a freshman, he is impressing folks who watch, and it's clear he's talented. So overall, the position's in a great spot, and I think Alabama fans should be very encouraged because it could be a much different spot where you're worried that you don't even have one starter.
All right, Ty Simpson, one down here. Who's next? We're staying on the offensive side of the ball, I think.
Yeah, Jam Miller was a guy who, I mean, Ryan Grubb praised earlier in camp. Kalen DeBoer praised after the scrimmage, but he had some tough runs. He had a big run early in the scrimmage. I mean, he's a proven commodity, so he's not a secret, Ben, but it sounds like he's not resting on his laurels there. I mean, he sounds to be taking the next step in his game in what I believe is his fourth year in the program. And I think he stood out and really impressed a lot of folks already, even though they know what he can do, but he's just taking his game to a whole new level.
Yeah, so Jam Miller was the second leading rusher last year behind Jalen Milrow. He had 668 yards on 145 attempts. He was, no question, the number one running back. He had nearly double the number of carries that Justice Haynes had. And it sounds like, yeah, there's a lot of confidence from Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb with Jam Miller. And we always hear that mantra from Alabama fans, run the damn ball, right? And with Milrow, Alabama obviously got away from that pro style balance where if you have workhorse backs, you can just keep feeding them. So we didn't really get a read in 2024 on how DeBoer likes to use running backs, especially if we wanted to compare and contrast what Saban and his OCs did, right? So, Nick, what kind of rushing attack do you expect from a Grubb offense?
To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure yet because his offenses for the past few years have been very pass heavy. And I wouldn't be surprised if this offense is similar. Maybe there's a better split, but I mean, you look at the weapons they have at receiver, there's so many guys that I mean, I don't know that you want to necessarily go away from that, but you can use the run to set up the pass and create more opportunities. And it sounds like they have more guys at running back than maybe folks anticipated. I mean, Jam's the guy; he's the leader there. But I think there was some trepidation coming into camp, and already some guys like Daniel Hill, Richard Young, Dre Washington have impressed that this running back position is in a better spot than anticipated. And don't forget, too, Ben, Ryan Grubb is an offensive line coach at heart. I mean, it's kind of where he started out back in his early days. So I don't think he's against running the football, but they have had a lot of pass happy offenses under Ryan Grubb. So I think it's in wait and see mode to see what that distribution looks like.
Hey, if they're scoring touchdowns and converting first downs, I don't think people are going to care. Regardless, they just want to win, however whatever it takes. So we're still on offense for guy number 3 here, but this is a guy that has kind of gone back and forth between offense and special teams a little bit, right, Nick?
Yeah, Cole Adams is a guy that multiple people mentioned who watched the scrimmage. I think he was mainly running with the twos, but he was standing out. He was making plays, and that's a really crowded room ahead of him, as I mentioned. But at the same time, he's doing his best to not get forgotten. So he's back from his injury that forced him to miss a lot of last season, and he's trying to make an impact. So I don't know how he factors in quite yet because I think your top three are Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, Rico Scott is going to be in the mix as well. So I'm not quite sure where those snaps come from, but Cole Adams is trying to make an impact and show that he can help this team.
Yeah, well, before he got hurt last year, he was also the starting punt returner, and he seemed pretty effective at it, whether it was just having good instincts, securing possession, fielding the ball, but also showing that he could advance it too to some degree. Do you think that we see Cole Adams back in that spot? And if not, who?
Yeah, it can make sense. I mean, again, you look at a Rico Scott type. I'm not sure that this is just complete speculation on my part, but he's one of the fastest guys on the team, Rico Scott is. And if he's got good return skills, then yeah, you might want to use him. At the same time, if you trust a guy like Cole Adams, or if you trust someone else, maybe you look to them instead, because most importantly, it's that the person secures the football. So I don't know if they go for a more exciting option like a Rico Scott, but maybe Cole Adams they put back there again because the trust was there last season.
Yeah, Cole Adams, exciting player, and it was a bummer when he went down last year. I know a lot of Alabama fans were disappointed, but I'm sure nobody more so than Cole. So hopefully he gets to play a healthy full season this year and can show everybody what he can do. All right, Nick, we're on to guy number 4 now. Finally, a defensive guy.
Justin Hill, the freshman from Cincinnati, he's a guy who, again, I don't know how he factors in snap wise, but multiple observers mentioned his name after the scrimmage. So it sounds like he fared well for himself. And he's got a lot of veteran guys ahead of him, but he's got good potential, and I'm intrigued to see how he progresses, see what he can do, because I think off the edge, as he develops and gets more used to college football, he could help this team.
Forgot who I picked. You drinking from a fire hose right now during fall camp, aren't you? It's pretty
Just a little
busy
bit, just a
out
little
there.
bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, the pass rush seems like it's going to be a point of emphasis this year, but we don't know yet if it's going to be a big strength. And we know they have guys like LT Overton and Quay Russo, other guys on the roster who've got talent, but we don't know if any of these guys are a Will Anderson or a Dallas Turner or even a Jihad Campbell level rusher who can finish plays. Nick, do you think Alabama's pass rush will be better in 2025?
I think it'll be better. And here's a name to watch that you didn't mention: Yanze Pierre. He has been with the program several years. I think he can bring some athleticism off the edge. He could be something special for him. I'm not quite sure what his role will look like, but I think if he continues to progress, he'll be a guy to watch. I mean, Quay Russo is probably the top guy at that position, but he's more of a power rusher. You have Yancey Pierre with some speed. So he could be a really important guy on third downs who can help. And I'm intrigued to see how he progresses, him and Quay. If both of them could step up, I think that'll go a long way to helping LT Overton, because, I mean, LT is going to be good. He was last year. He's got to finish, obviously, and get to the quarterback more often than he did. But I think it's a safe assumption that he's going to bring some quality pass rush, but he needs someone else. They can't just have him. Quay Russo, Yanze Pierre are the two guys I'm looking to potentially help with that.
So it's Russo, not Russo for Quay, right?
Correct.
Okay. I always loved like when we would cover games, and I'm sure it's in the program too, they would have this pronunciation guide for the players if you were like on the radio or doing TV or something like that, or doing podcasts for that matter. So Quay Russo, good to know for the remainder of this season in his career in Alabama. Okay, Nick, that's 4 guys, but you said this was a list of 5, but I see 6 names. So tell us why you cheated and gave us a bonus pick.
I did cheat a little bit, and partly because I wanted to talk about both quarterbacks behind Ty. Again, Austin Mack and Keelan Russell have both, I think, had good camps, and I think they had good days on Saturday. I mean, overall, there were no interceptions, Ben, which I think some fans were like, oh no, the defensive backs are struggling. No, to me, we know the defensive backs are going to be fine. For the quarterbacks not to have turnovers, not to have those interceptions, that's huge this time of year, because those seem inevitable when you have a true freshman in the mix, when you have different quarterbacks building chemistry with receivers. The fact that they're making good decisions is going to help this team so much, especially when the defense is putting some tough spots in some of their losses. Oklahoma, Michigan, with those turnovers on offense. And this team, if they can have an offense that doesn't give away the ball like it happened at times last year, the defense is going to be able to play well. This Alabama team is going to win a lot of games. So that's a great sign. Quarterback play up and down, I think, was in a really good spot on Saturday.
Wait a minute. So you said the defensive backs are going to be fine, but it's not like the defensive backs took those plays and took those reps off, right? So like this is always a conundrum, I think, for fans, right? Like on A Day, especially, or watching a scrimmage where it's like if a guy breaks off a huge run, then it's like, wow, what an awesome play. Great play by the offensive line and the running back. But it's like, wait a second, why didn't the defense catch that guy? Whose fault is it, right? Is it because the offense was better, or is it because the defense was struggling, or vice versa? Like, how do you typically look at that, Nick?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you kind of have to go situationally. Of course, it's tough when I'm not actually there to be able to see it. But I do think that Ryan Grubb's offense is tricky to defend. And if you can defend Ryan Grubb's offense, you can probably defend most. And I really do feel good about the secondary, about as good as I feel with any position on the team. So again, I'm just not worried about the secondary, even if they're not getting interceptions. Of course, Kane Womack's going to let them hear that, the defensive coordinator, because he's big on takeaways. That's what his swarm D is all about. But to me, it just is a good sign for the quarterbacks and no reason to panic about the defensive backs.
All right, Nick, that's 6 players. You promised 5, but gave us 6. You're a generous
A bonus,
guy.
right? A bonus.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm giving the readers at AL.com a nice little add-on there.
what a guy, but we're going to ask for one more. Okay. We asked your buddy, our good friend, Matt Stahl, the same question I'm about to ask you, and he picked Alabama tight end Josh Cuevas. So let me ask you this question. Which Alabama player will become a household name to Alabama and college football fans by October?
Yeah, easy answer. Isaiah Horton is going to be that household name, game changer, if you will. I think he's going to have a huge impact. He brings something that they didn't necessarily have in that he's this tall, fast guy that I think is going to be able to help this offense a good bit. I mean, just in the scrimmage on Saturday, Ty Simpson hit him on a long pass that I believe went for a score. So he's making plays. I mean, he had that 8-day touchdown as well. So Isaiah Horton, watch for that guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he has an impact quickly. I don't know if it's going to be on a Jamison Williams level in terms of coming to the program for another Power 4 program, but I think he's going to help this offense a lot. And there's a reason that I think Ty Simpson's excited to have him in the mix. They're both kind of the Nashville guys, so to speak, or around Tennessee guys, if you will. And I think that they're going to be able to do some special things together. So Isaiah Horton, remember the name. I'll be shocked if he does not have a good year.
Nick Kelly guarantees Isaiah Horton will be an All-American in 2025. You heard it right here. Nick said it, not me. But he is Nick Kelly. You can read all his coverage at AL.com/Alabama football. Follow him at _Nick Kelly. Nick, thanks again.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ben. Always enjoy it.
All right. Well, we'll be right back here on Beat Everyone. Don't go anywhere. Hey, we're back here on Beat Everyone. I'm Ben Flanagan with AL.com, and I'm joined by Beat Everyone producer, our good pal Matt Scalisi. He's here. And Matt, a couple of quick things before we get to something you've got planned for this segment here. The Associated Press preseason top 25 ranking is out. Fans, I guess, eager to see this typically annually. It's not something that I look forward to, but it's just another one of those sort of like preseason milestones where it's like, okay, the season's really almost here. Now that we have these rankings out, Alabama is in the top 10. They are ranked 8th overall in the AP top 25. Texas, number 1. Penn State, number 2, weirdly enough. Anyway, we're focused on Alabama here. Matt, Alabama at number 8. Too high, too low, just right.
I mean, in a vacuum, if you're just saying a number and you're not thinking about the teams ahead and behind them, 8 feels about right for what I expect from this program. I think they have the talent and the coaching staff and the resources to be a top 10 team, but they did not produce last year at a level that I think is deserving of putting them any higher than that, I would say. But again, like putting it more in context, I think maybe there are a few teams ahead of them, 1 or 2 at most, that I think let's say an average reasonable Alabama fan would look at and say, I feel very confident Alabama beats that team on a neutral field. But other than that, it seems about right. It seems like this is a good spot for Alabama in that it's like, okay, well, prove to us that you are a top 8 team beyond this. Prove to us that you're top 4, that you're going to make a run at the national championship. But I don't know that they've earned that benefit of the doubt yet.
No, definitely not. And if anything, I think this is a kind ranking considering how Alabama finished the season, but it just shows that a lot of people have confidence in their roster. The fact that nobody transferred during the last portal window. I think there's more confidence growing in Ty Simpson right now as the quarterback in DeBoer's system. So it's interesting. I do think it's just right, though. And I think it's also indicative that people think that Alabama belongs in the playoff conversation because, I mean, it's a 12-team playoff. Alabama's number 8 here. And so they've been given the chance to prove themselves and they have a head start. And so what I also think is interesting, let's go through the top 10 real quick. I can't see it. Number 10. Who's at number 10?
Number 10 is
Matt?
Miami.
Okay, number 10, Miami. Okay, I disagree with that. On its face.
A good record on paper last year. It's just that we all know what we think about Miami, I think.
Exactly. I just no.
Yeah.
I no to Miami automatically. And so you've got LSU, an Alabama opponent, number 9, Alabama number 8. You've got Oregon, number 7, Notre Dame, number 6, Georgia at number 5, Clemson number 4, and Ohio State number 3. And for some reason, Penn State number 2 and Texas number 1. I don't get the Penn State thing.
I don't either. And I'm just gonna have to be like I'm always gonna feel this way about Penn State until they have some kind of signature huge win. over somebody that matters in a game that matters, and I haven't seen it yet. I'd love. I think 2 is high. I also the other one ranked ahead of Alabama that jumps out to me is Clemson at number 4. I mean, it's not, we talked actually last week on this show, Ben, about what Dabo has been able to do there. It's very impressive. It's respectable. They deserve to be looked at as an elite program in college football. I don't understand what the hype about this Clemson team is coming from. I mean, they're playing in a league that they should very easily be able to dominate. So I guess that's going in their favor. My bigger question would be, once you get to the playoffs, how is this team going to perform against the best teams from the Big Ten and the SEC and even some of the other leagues? I, I don't have a lot of confidence and faith that Clemson is going to be competitive against the elite programs from the Big Two conferences, but they certainly have a great easy path ahead of them to get to the playoffs.
Well, look at all the teams that are on Alabama's 2025 schedule who are in the top 25. On the outside looking in, Missouri is on there. They got votes. Auburn got some votes for some reason. Florida State got some votes. And then you've got Tennessee. They're at number 24. Oklahoma is at number 18. You've got several SEC teams, I think 10 in the entire top 25, but LSU is right there, as we said, at number 9. And you've got Georgia at number 5. So, I mean, Alabama's got their work cut out for them if they do want to make the playoff, but they're one of those top 10 teams too. I mean, 10 SEC teams. I didn't even mention Ole Miss at 21. You've got Texas A&M at 19, Florida at 15. South Carolina is another team I didn't mention on Alabama's schedule. They're number 13, and a lot of people think that they could be in the playoff picture as well. And then obviously Texas at number 1. So, I mean, people were saying that the SEC was going to have a down year this year. They got 10 teams in the top 25, Matt.
I mean, as we know, it's not going to end that way most likely because these guys are going to all beat up on each other. But I think the quality is there, at least top to bottom in the league. And I think the issue with last year was at the end of the season, Texas and Georgia, who I think were clearly the 2 best teams in the league, did not have what it took to kind of push further deeper into the postseason. I think that they got outmanned by the other teams that they met in the playoffs. Some of that was due to injuries. I mean, I will say a significant amount of it, I think, was due to injuries, but also I just don't know that those 2 programs were at a stage developmentally with their quarterbacks and everything else that, roster building to make a run at a national title last year. I think at least Texas for sure should be in better shape. I think Georgia, if everybody stays healthy, they certainly should be right there again competing. And I think the question is who else joins those 2 from the SEC in the playoffs. Alabama, as we've talked about here, they have as good an argument as anybody right now going into the season. The question is, can they put it all together in a 12-game schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank God we didn't get the trilogy, Texas versus Georgia, which we could have in the national championship game, but it worked out that we didn't. That would have absolutely sucked considering we had already seen them play twice. But they've certainly got a lot of talent, and it would have been a showcase for the SEC. It just wasn't meant to be. But look, with preseason rankings, like I never have a big reaction to them. They don't matter, right? I mean, you got to start somewhere, and this is just how people feel going into the season. But nobody knows anything. Nobody has seen these teams play in their current forms, and so it'll all straighten itself out once these teams all start playing. But it's just good to see, though, that if you want to like read into this at all and let this create the excitement that it's meant to, that there is some confidence in Alabama that they should be a top 10 team, but should be matters not. It means nothing. Because, I mean, think of like past seasons when USC is ranked number 1 and they have a 6-6 season, right? Or when Alabama was ranked number 3 or 2 or whatever it was going into the 2000 season, and then they go 3-8 during the regular season. So like we've seen it so many times to where these preseason rankings just don't mean squat. But hopefully this means that Alabama is a top 10 team if you choose to believe in such things. All right, Matt, that's it for the top 25 rankings. Let's get to why we came here in the first place. What do you have planned for us here?
Ben, we're going to do a blind ranking, and it's going to be right on topic with what Nick Kelly talked about in the first half of the show. Ben, you're not picking a single MVP of the 2025 team, but I'm going to list these names for you, and you're going to blind rank them in the order of how valuable they are to the 2025 Crimson Tide.
I love that. I'm ready. I mean, we're still getting to know this roster, right? Like, we haven't seen them play. We've seen some of them. Some of them are returning starters, I'm sure, but I'm eager to see these guys in 2025. And I think I have an idea of like where I'd put them and like who needs to succeed and be great, which is something we talked about on a recent episode for Alabama to make the playoffs. So let's do it.
All right. First up, Rico Scott.
Rico Scott, I'm going to put him a little bit low because, again, we haven't seen much of Rico Scott, and there are a lot of reps to go. There aren't a lot of reps to go around in the very competitive wide receiver room. Guys like Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, Cole Adams. That's just scratching the surface of the talent that this unit has. Rico Scott, though, said to be really fast, arguably the fastest guy on the team. I'm going to put him at 4 right now.
All right. Jam Miller, Ben.
Jam Miller, very important. If Alabama's going to have a balanced attack, if they're going to take some of the pressure off of Ty Simpson or whoever's playing quarterback, Jam Miller's going to need to step up and make plays when he gets the opportunity. He's going to need to be that workhorse back at times this season. Jam Miller, though, I think you're going to give me more important players in terms of what Alabama's going to need to do offensively and what they're going to need to do on the other side of the ball. I'm going to put Jam Miller solidly at 3.
All right. We're moving over to the defense now, Quay Russaw.
Oh, Quay Russaw, huge. Alabama needs the pass rush to step up this year, and they need a guy to step up in the same place where guys like Will Anderson and Dallas Turner and last year's Jahad Campbell were able to get to the quarterback, put the quarterback on the ground. Quay Russaw showed a lot of flash in 2024, but I don't think he reached his full potential due to injuries and other things like that. Quay Russaw to me, though, number 2 on this list. I think he's a really important player, super athletic, super tough. I think this guy's going to be a superstar.
All right, staying on the defense, Ben. It was a big name when we found out he was coming back, Deontay Lawson.
I'm going to put him at 5, Matt.
Okay.
Because Deontay Lawson, great player, we know that, but he's coming off of a severe injury from 2024. A guy tore his ACL, and it seems like this is very soon for somebody to be coming back from an injury like that. It gets shorter and shorter. The window of rehab time that we've seen in the past few years, recovery from an ACL is not what it used to be 20 years ago or even more recent than that. But I'm going to give Deontay Lawson some grace and let him recover and understand that he may not be 100% the same guy that we've seen the past couple of years. But I think Deontay Lawson, number 5 for me right now.
Okay. All right. Well, Ben, that leaves us with the number 1 spot. And I will admit I zagged a little bit here, but Jeremy Bernard is the last name on this list. How do you feel about him being your number 1?
I'm okay with that because Jeremy Bernard has to be the number 2 guy. And he was the number 2 guy last year, and he stepped up down the stretch of the season and became one of Jalen Milroe's primary and favorite targets. He had nearly as many yards as Ryan Williams had in 2024, so he was arguably just as important of a receiver, not the vertical threat that Ryan Williams was, not the big playmaker that Ryan Williams was, but steady possession receiver, guy who could make plays, score touchdowns, get you the yards that you needed. Mr. Reliable, Jeremy Bernard became in 2024, and I think he's going to be really important, especially for Ty Simpson's development as the guy at the quarterback position. They need Jeremy Bernard to be great in 2025. So I think he's the number 1 guy of the guys you gave me. Jeremy Bernard, number 1. I feel good about this list, Matt.
Yeah,
how'd I do?
You've got Bernard 1. You've got Quay Russaw number 2, Jam Miller 3, Rico Scott 4, Deontay Lawson 5.
I think I nailed that, Matt. With respect to Deontay Lawson, he could kill me, but I'm not disrespecting him here. I think Deontay Lawson's a great player. He doesn't deserve to be number 5 on any list out of 5, but I nailed this.
Congrats, Ben. Well done.
Thank you. Self-proclaimed champion as usual, Matt, and I appreciate this one. This was fun. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. It was good to hear from our guy, Nick Kelly. You should go and find his stuff on AL.com. His and Matt Stahl's, Michael Casagrande's, Kevin Skarbinski, people who write amazing things about Alabama football. We're in the thick of it, Matt. Fall camp is just underway. We've seen a scrimmage already, or some people have seen it and told us about it, but we're reporting every single detail that we hear, and you can find everything up to the minute. Their coverage is amazing over there on AL.com, so go read it. And you can find Beat Everyone on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. So again, thanks to Nick Kelly, and thanks to you, Beat Everyone producer Matt, for doing an awesome job. Always appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben.
I am Ben Flanagan with AL.com. We'll see you next time.